Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we continue to expand our platform, where we are bringing world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. We're now live streaming on Roku worldwide and Amazon Fire, and soon to be Apple TV. We, of course, are on E360 TV as well. I'm Dr. Jacalyn-Kerbeck, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Mallorca Connection, where we're going to meet with the star of our show, Mr. Roland Friedl. And we're going to hear about the journey of his life, which is really from his head to his heart. Let's welcome the entrepreneur, the man who is in his motorhome driving through Europe, helping people all over the world. He's also an author and a coach, and he has his own podcast as well. Welcome, Mr. Roland Friedl.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Great to see you again. And hello to our audience, wherever you're joining us. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Great to see you. And nice job that you just did on the show right before this, the Planet Earth show. So thanks for doing back to back. I know that's not always that easy to do.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you, Ray, because I also love the topic about building up communities. And yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, Roland, it's so good to see you. And you have grown so much since we first met, which I think was 3 years ago. You now have your own platform where you're interviewing people. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we're going to get into today's topic.
Yeah, actually, you know, with all the experience I made here in USA Global TV and Radio, I'm very thankful for that. And we had this amazing men's show, the Wild at Heart show here. I guess it was all 50 shows or something like that. I got more and more involved in the men's coaching and men's development, and actually I joined some men's festival in Austria, and I decided to do a platform in German because there's nothing in the German language available for men. So I started Roland Media on YouTube. We don't go live like here in USA Global TV Radio. Just I record the interviews and then I release them on YouTube channel. It's called Roland Media, and the show is called Wild at Heart that started with men, and then more and more women came into and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you on your show," something like that. So we also do another show in German. It's called Entrepreneur. So that's what we do. But it's all in German. All in German. Yeah, and that's a lot of fun too. A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Well, I'm so glad that you started off with us here, because I know from the very beginning you had been on some other shows and you've been interviewed, and then they misquoted you or missed the recap of what it was you actually said. I know you were a little trepidatious about doing an interview, and now look at you, all these hundreds of shows later with your own platform. I love to see it.
I guess they did 250 or almost 300 shows on USA Global TV Radio. It's amazing. And besides my business, that's the fun thing. People always ask me, when are you doing this? And I say, hey, we have 24 hours. I don't sleep that much. I don't hang around in bars.
Yeah, I mean, you're passionate about what you do. You're good at everything that you do. And so it comes through. So today we're going to talk about the journey that you've made. You've had a lot of major changes in your life. And we've talked about this before, but you left your beautiful home, Mallorca, and you are living off the road, literally. And have you been doing it for what, a year and a half now?
Yeah, actually, it's 2 years now.
2 years. It's
actually,
2 years in March.
2 years.
2 years.
2 years in March now. Actually, I planned it just for 1 year. You know, I left this amazing island now after 14 years. But I was always traveling around the globe. This island was just my home base. But to be honest, I was not. Actually, the first years I hadn't been much on the island because I was traveling all the time. Yeah, I left it 2 years ago. There's different circumstances, with this pandemic, then separation from my girlfriend, stuff like that. And I said, we organized yoga retreats there, and there was no business for 3 years. And so we said, okay, let's shut down. The cost was enormous. It was enormous because it was a huge, huge house, a huge property. It was like a hotel, many, many rooms. It was beautiful. Yes, it was. But to be honest, actually, at the end, the house owned me, and I didn't own the house anymore. So it was a lot of work, a lot of costs. And then I was by myself, and it doesn't make sense to keep the house with these high expenses and I'm just being by myself. So I decided to move a motorhome because I bought a motorhome a few years ago. I just used it for vacation. It was always my dream to move into it, but I was a little bit scared about that. I said, well, from a huge house and a small one, does it work? So I did it 2 years ago. The plan was just for 1 year and to find another location, but I absolutely enjoy this lifestyle. I don't know how long it's going on, but I love it. I love the freedom. I love the freedom. I be there. I like it. I stay. I don't like it. I move on. The weather's not good. I go where the sun is shining. I don't like the people around here. I move. So it's just fantastic because freedom is one of my highest values. So for me, it's a perfect fit.
Freedom is priceless. That is for sure. And I love something that you just shared, because I think this is where people get really tripped up. You had this beautiful home, you're running yoga retreats. I mean, it was magnificent, but it didn't feel right in your body anymore to be there. And many times we get these signs, our intuition, something's coming up for us saying, this doesn't feel right. But we say, you know what? I've got to keep with it. It's what I know. It's comfortable. And you said, forget comfortable. I'm out of here. And that's really admirable. I mean, that takes a lot of commitment and even courage, because most times we live in a state of fear.
Yeah, but we are so used to things, and we fear more the new one or the unknown than the present moment, even if it's not perfect for us. It's painful for us. But to be honest, Dr. Jacalyn, it took me 2 years from the first I want to get out of here until I really did it. So it was not just a decision and I moved out. It took me 2 years, to be honest, because I had to consider different things, and I had a contract to fulfill and other things. But I was working constantly on it, I said, okay, I'm going to prepare. So to be honest, I'm not that stupid that I jump in something in and let's try it out. So I prepare, of course, I organize, of course, but at the end, it's all about making a decision and doing the step. Yeah. And I think that the most difficult thing is doing the decision. Once you made a decision, it's easy, but when you always postpone it. My experience is that it's still in your head. It's blocking you. It's blocking your creativity and your joyful. So whatever you're doing, it's always there. So I learned, make a decision. It doesn't mean that you do it immediately, but you make a decision, and then you make a plan, and you set up a plan, and then you act with this plan. And yeah, it's about making a decision. It's all about that.
Yeah, and it feels great and it's very empowering. So tell us a little bit more about your journey. Maybe give our audience some background. I interviewed you for my book, Adversity to Awesome, and you've been through a number of things in your life. And of course, you've had a number of businesses yourself. You've worked with some of the biggest corporations in the world. Tell us a little about your backstory.
Well, my backstory, to make a long story short, actually, I raised up in a lower middle class family. I had a father and a mother. My father was not emotionally not present at all. My mom too. To be honest, I had a very, very hard time. I went to a very bad time from age 5 to 14 or 9 years. So there was a lot of violence and sexual abuse and stuff like that. It wasn't a good time. But to be honest, I learned a lot from this. And at the end, I was the person I'm right now. So it gave me the chance to do what I wanted to do. So it made me very, very strong, to be honest, very, very strong. I had no fear anymore because I learned from the early years, I'm by myself, nobody's supporting, not my mom, not my dad, nobody's supporting me. I'm just alone. I have to stand on my feet, and I can decide I'm going to die, give up and die and leave this body and this planet, or I fight. And I became a fighter. I became an absolute fighter. So it made me very strong. I went to school, I went to university, I wasn't a corporal well. I always had a very fast career. I did build up some businesses. Of course, too. Some of them failed too, but some of them very, very successful. But I was a fighter. And I learned I don't need anybody else. I can do it. I have no excuses. I just go. Because I could suppress all my negative emotions. But every coin has two sides. Every medal has two sides. What I didn't realize in my early years is when you suppress your negative emotions, you also suppress on the long term your positive ones. And I had a huge career. I had nice houses, penthouses, cars, and whatever luxury. But I was not really happy, to be honest. So, and that's where my journey started. I call it the journey of my life. I mean, I traveled the globe. But the journey, the hardest way, and to be honest, at the end, the most fruitful journey of my life was from my brain into my heart. And so I learned that I have to have access to emotions. I have to learn to take care about my heart. What I mean is taking care about listen to my heart. Listen to my heart. When somebody approaches me and asks me something or offers me something, I go away from my brain, I answer with my heart, from the bottom of my heart. And I found out that it's so important because most people, especially in the Western society, they are so in their brain because we are so educated, forced, socialized from the early beginning, from our parents, from the kindergarten, from the school system, for the men in the military, in the corporate world. We only are interested in your brain. We have 4 parts. We have the rational part, we have the emotional part, we have the institutional part, and we have the spiritual part. But the world is only, or the world, the society, or the system is only interested in our rational part. And we became very good in that. They are really suppressed in all other 3 parts. But I found out, and it took me some years, that's not good. I'm not complete. And to become complete, I have to really accept all 4, live all 4. And this means going from my brain away to my heart. And Dr. Jacalyn, I strongly believe that the reason why our society is so sick, meaning so many people addicted to drugs, to pharmaceuticals, whatever, is because we are too much in the brain and not in the heart.
There's a lot to be said about that. I agree with you. And in the process of this realization and taking this journey, what did you have to let go of? Who did you have to let go of? Not specific names, but I'm sure you had to make some tough choices.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, it was not, it didn't happen by chance of real. I had some accidents. And the thing is, I always get hurt in my head or in my throat or my lungs, always. always. Whatever happened, every accident I had, it was always. And then I was reading some books about the connection between when you get ill, or like myself, I never went ill, but I had different accidents. So a car hit me, or a bus hit me, or I fall down for something. It was always my head. And I was thinking about that, and I said, okay, the reason for that is because I'm too much in my head, and my body tells me, hey, that's not healthy what you're doing. It's not healthy. But from the outside, well, it looks cool, successful. You have a house, you have cars, you have this and this and this. Yeah. But inside, it's not healthy. And so the body gave me some hints. And I believe in the beginning, the hints have been smaller ones, but I didn't listen or recognize it. And then it hit me harder. It hit me harder. So I learned how to listen. And one of the things was I had a very bad accident. A car hit me. I was doing marathons. I was running 24 hours runs and marathons. I was crazy and running. And I was always in the night between 10 p.m. and midnight, I was training, because during the day I was working, and a drunk person hit me, and I spent 6 months in hospital and stuff like that. It was a very bad time, so luckily I survived. And in the 6 months, I had a lot of time to rethink about my life, because I could not go to work. I couldn't be there for my business. I couldn't be there for my staff. I couldn't be there for my clients. And it gave me learning, because I always, I've never stood at home sick, never, ever. Even when I didn't feel good, I showed up every time. Every time. If somebody, my family needed, said, sorry, it's always business was first for me. And this was the hard learning in hospitals, that, okay, now you cannot do anything. You cannot even move. I was lying in bed. I couldn't move for weeks. So I couldn't do anything. I couldn't pick up the phone. I could do nothing, just nothing. And this was a learning for myself. And there started my journey. So afterwards, I came out from the hospital. I went to recreation, revelation. I read a lot of books. I did some coachings and stuff like that, and I found out I'm too much in my brain. All it's about my brain, and it's not healthy when the brain wants to direct your life. It's not good. What I learned is, I don't know, was one of these books is riding an elephant. When the small person on the elephant, the small person is the brain, the elephant is the rest of your body. When the small person on the elephant wants to ride the elephant, it's not working, not at all. So there my journey began, and I did a lot of stuff on personal development. To be honest, I always was into personal development, but it was more, since my early 20s, it was more about becoming more efficient, becoming more successful in the material world, in the outer world. And I started working on myself more in the inner world. And to be honest, I discovered some very dark sides in my side. It was a very, very painful process, but it was the best thing I could ever do in my life. Absolutely. It changed totally everything for me. I'm joyful. I'm free. Nobody can manipulate it. I'm not scared that much. Of course, sometimes I have some self-doubts, or rethink something before I jump into something. But I'm more self-confident. I'm absolutely happy. I'm balanced. I'm totally balanced. Nothing can shock me.
That's beautiful, Roland. I'm really happy for you. And thanks for sharing it here with me and with our audience. What I'm wondering is, I know you are involved with different people. You're in different communities because you're on the road and you're traveling. You're always meeting new people. So it's not as though you're always going to meet someone who is like-minded. We can't say that all people living in motorhomes are living like this or have this philosophy. What happens when you encounter someone who is still living in their head, or is living a life of capitalism or materialism? Do you instantly think, oh, maybe I can learn something from this person? Or do you think, been there, done that, don't want to be involved with them?
Actually, I keep the small talk very short, because it is not of value of me. It's not value about which soccer team won, or what's the weather tomorrow. I can see it on an app, or whatever it is. I keep the small talk very, very short about it. I'm always polite, you never know. You always say you always meet twice in your life, but I'm not interested anymore in this, how do you call it, in this flat conversation, or I want to call it. I'm not interested. Absolutely not. It's not me. But also in the van life world, or the people who are living in campers, or like myself in a motorhome, only a few people are really very conscious. Only a few people. Most of it is elder people, retired, just spending the winter in the south because they don't want to freeze in the north. But there are people, and to be honest, I met a very interesting guy 3 months ago in Apulia. We met again in South Sicily. Now I'm here with him in North Sicily, so he's just my neighbor with his caravan, and we have very, very deep conversation, very, very deep conversation, because he's also working. And actually, we're almost the same age, and yeah, we have deep conversation about our inner world, about our fears, about our how to heal our father wound or mother wound, stuff like that. You find people like that, and I believe the older I become, the more experienced I become, you sense people, and you also attract people who, yeah, you also bring people coming into your life that there's a fit for you when you're open and when you're sensitive. And I'm a highly sensitive person, so I stay away from the others because it's worthless for me, to be honest. Worthless in the sense of it's not joyful. It's not worthless in it. I cannot make a business with them. That's not the point. It's about, yeah, what are you talking about? Because I don't read any news. I don't read any newspapers. I'm not interested in all the shit going on. I'm more interested in building up a new system, and starting by myself as a role model.
Absolutely. And we've heard the term, used the term on this platform, the term awakened or awakening. I even have a book about Creative Hearts Awakening. Did you have an awakening?
Yeah, absolutely. I had an awakening, absolutely. And I found out that what the heck I'm doing here. I'm in this treadmill, I'm running like crazy. And the faster I run, the more successful I have, the more golden I make my treadmill, and it's harder to move it. And I said, no, stop it. I will never forget it. I can do something. Many, many years ago, I bought a Porsche. It was a dream. It was a almost $300,000 car. And it took me I ordered it. I wanted to pay in cash because I made it in a month. I want to pay in cash. And I had to wait almost 2 years to get it. And then I got it. I drove it. I will never forget it. I'll never forget it. I drove it because, finally it's there. It's a cool car. I drove it. And then I said, oh my gosh, my life, my relationship at the time, sorry, baby, but it was still shit. It was still shit. And the Porsche didn't make me happy, so I sold it after 3 months. And by the way, because they didn't build many of this unique one. So actually, the dealer called me 3 months later and said, "Sorry to bother you, but we have a client who is willing to pay more when he gets it immediately." Same colleague, "Are you willing?" We just asked. I said, "Yeah, please." Here. And I made a hell of money out of it. Yeah, I made a huge profit out of it. Yeah. So this was an awakening for me. So I found out, okay, it's nice to enjoy material things. I don't say no that I don't have them. Yeah, it's nice, but I'm absolutely not attached to it. Absolutely not attached to it. I know that it doesn't make me happy, but I'm not avoiding. Of course, man. But I'm not attached to it. That's the difference. I can enjoy them for a period of time, but when it's gone, it's gone. Like actually a year ago, you remember when they stole my Rolex from my arm? Yeah, man. Of course, it's annoying. Yeah, but 5 minutes later, it's gone. I cannot change it. It is like it is. Yeah. Why worry? Why worry? At the end, the last pocket has. How do they say? They say the last shirt has no pockets. We said.
I think something else that you brought up that's really important, because I know some couples in relationships where the relationship is challenged or was challenged, and one of the partners shows up with a special gift. Sometimes it's a car, sometimes it's jewelry, and it doesn't change anything. The relationship is still not working. So even though you got this luxury vehicle for 300,000 plus, that doesn't mean that it's going to fill a void in a relationship. It may be for a one night, for a week, for a couple of weeks. Like, yeah, let's get in this car and drive around. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, you're still you and I'm still me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A very nice lady, 30 years old. I don't name her yet, but she told me when she was 20, her father has a company too, and when she was 21, her father gave her as a birthday present a brand new Porsche too when he was 21. And she said, of course I took the Porsche, but to be honest, she said to me, at this moment, I would love to smash the key in his face and say, Dad, why the fuck don't you see me? Why don't you see me how I am, who I am, what I am? why don't you buy me a Porsche? Why don't you just take me in my arms and spend time with me? And I guess that's all about it at the end of the day. I know there was a very famous Hollywood actor, and he said, I don't know if it's a quote from him, I saw it on social media. And this quote was saying, I wish everyone to become rich and famous to find out it doesn't make you happy. It means there's something else that makes you happy. Again, it's not about any material stuff, but that's not the goal. That shouldn't be the goal. It's a one-way direction. It's all about living in your heart and do what you really want, and be with the people around you want. Take care about yourself. Eat healthy, eat clean, reconnect with nature. That's the first thing. And the second thing is building up a career if you want to make money. But the third thing is take a look about yourself, meaning reconnect with nature. Don't forget where you're coming from. Don't forget that your genes are thousands of years old. And our society, like our Western society, is just less than 200 years old, beginning with the Industrial Revolution. So I think we have to realize this the third thing. Again, I'm not against material stuff, not at all, not at all. But it shouldn't be number one, because we all see. I know so many rich people are absolutely unhappy. But you just cover it with all this stuff. And to be honest, when you meet somebody, Dr. Jacalyn, I mean, how do you do? And everybody says fine. And I said, that's not what I'm asking for. What do you really feel inside? What do you really feel inside? That's the most important thing. Not how you do. Everybody says fine. What does mean fine? It's about how do you feel inside. And most people even can't answer the question because they don't feel anything.
That's very true. And at the same time, I've also heard people say, well, I'm not sure how I feel, and I don't feel like getting into it because I don't feel like exposing myself in that way, because now I have to do work and I don't feel like doing the work. And then something else I wanted to point out is we both know people who are really struggling, and they live in other countries, their neighbor, whomever it is, the man on the street, and they don't really have much, but yet they're so happy. They're so happy.
Because they live in communities. And I traveled the world, and I was in many, many different tribes around the globe, and they don't have the same material standard like we do, but they are happy because they live in a community, who live with other people who support each other, even with the small things you do. And I will never forget when I was in Cuba over 30 years ago. It was not a good time at the time. People hadn't eaten much or everything. Just in the hotel, that everything was in hotels for the tourists to bring in some dollars. But the people, they had nothing. And I was invited to private education. It was forbidden by the time. But there was a band playing in the hotel, and the guys invited me privately at home. And they had not really much, but they shared everything. Everything. And I was in Asia, in Southeast Asia, in India, in the Philippines, in Indonesia. Small villages, small tribes, they share everything with you. And then when you look in our society, people have much more than they need, and they're still arguing and not happy enough because people always see what they don't have. But it's the other way around. We have to focus what we have and be grateful, and that's what I do every day. And it was also a game changer for me. Is a part coming from my brain down to my heart, was just being grateful and thankful for what I have every day, and not focus on what I don't have. And because when you think about things you don't have, actually we are trained, you have to focus on that because this is motivation to be more successful. Whoa, yeah, it's a tricky way. That's my experience. It's a tricky way because then you get all the things and you focus. But the point is, when you always focus on what you don't have, it's never enough, because then it's the next thing I don't have. I have a car, yeah, but I don't have a sports car. Yeah, I have a sports car, but I don't have a convertible. I have a convertible, but I don't have a boat. I have a boat, but I don't have an airplane. And this is a never-ending story when you focus on what you don't have instead of focusing what you have. That's my learning.
I completely support what you're saying. That's very true. And something else is, I found when people are always in I don't have enough, it's not enough, they're looking at you and questioning you. Well, how are you doing what you're doing? I mean, aren't you exhausted? I mean, I get questions from people, and finally I'll say, you realize this is about you, don't you? why are you questioning me? I'm very happy. I love what I'm doing. So maybe I am doing these shows. Maybe I am teaching these classes. Maybe I'm writing these books. Why are you questioning me about it? Well, I just don't know where you get your energy from. And it's really kind of annoying. So you're annoyed that I have energy, or is it that you're annoyed that you don't have the same energy? It's funny how people do that. They turn it on you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, but actually, the funny thing is, most people come to me or said, I want to be like you." I said, "Yeah, but the question is, do you have all your shit together? Because it's hard work where I ended up. It was hard work. It wasn't given by this. It was hard work. That's one thing. Yeah, I paid the price. I will never forget. Many years ago, I was reading. I love to read books, especially people who are very successful. I was reading by Andrew Agassi. You know, this famous tennis player.
Sure.
I was reading Agassi and how he was threatened by his dad and he had no child or something. And every other artist or sportsman or businessman who's very successful, they pay the price, and people don't see the price. They only see the result, but they don't see the price. That's one thing. But I also have people who say, yeah, it's all fake. Funny story. You know, I've been single for 2 years, and not anymore. But I was been single for 2 years. So a friend of mine said, "There's a social media group on Facebook. There are single campers or stuff like that. So join there. Maybe you find somebody who is on the same mindset like you in a camp or something like that." So I signed up there. And I put a photograph of myself in. Actually, one not from my 30s, so actual photo. And I said, I'm 59, and a photograph, a little bit about myself. And I guess more than 300 women liked it. 260 wrote to me. But the funny thing is, 50. I stopped counting, but actually I quit it. Absolutely. At the end, I erased the post and I left this group. And 50 said, "That's fake. This guy's fake. It's not true. He doesn't look like this with 59. This is a fake person on the picture, because this person on the picture looks younger, fitter, healthier, and happier than a normal 59-year-old." And I said, "Oh my gosh, get out of this community." What kind of mindset is this?
Now, I have a question about that, because fortunately, like you, people always think that I'm younger than I am. And I just was with someone who looked younger than they are. And when I commented, the person started explaining, well, when I was younger, I had this happen to me and that. And they gave me this whole long story. And I thought, I wonder what's behind that. Because instead of saying, well, thanks, I appreciate it, I lead a healthy lifestyle, they went into the traumas that they had. And somebody I don't even know. And I thought, what's the appropriate response when someone says, you look great, what are you doing? Do you go, well, when I was 3 years old, this and that? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, people need always a good story. I wasn't the bad, building up this legend. I wasn't the bad. I was broken, and now I'm fine. This is always this legend building. And you see this always, these super coaches on Facebook. I was totally broken, and now I spent my last $5,000 from the bank, and then I made this tremendous change in my life. So I highly recommend you go to the bank and ask for 10,000, because my price is 10,000 now, and then I show you how the world is going around and make you happy. Yeah, it's a pleasure building.
What would you say to somebody who came to you and said, I just saw this person, this super master, in air quotes, coach, and it cost him 5, but now it's 10, and my life's going to be transformed? What would you say? Sign up?
No, not it. I don't know. And it's very difficult. First of all, coaches are important because they really can help you. But right now, since the pandemic, since everything went online, there's thousands and thousands of coaches came up with no experience, absolute nothing, just promising things. Yeah, again, not every coach is the same. There are very good ones outside, so be careful what you're buying. Be careful. There's a lot of fake stuff out. I see the Facebook. The funny thing is, I know some of the people. I know their story, but I'm not commenting on Facebook. It's not about me to charge it, but it's funny. It's absolutely funny thing what I see there. Yeah, and they're still caught in this 3D matrix. still
Yes.
believing it's all about making money, and wondering. What I learned is when you chase money, it's always running faster than you. It's about how to attract it. It's not chasing, it's how to attract it.
I love that. It's so true. It's funny, just from what you just said. I hired someone on Instagram to do something. I'm not going to say what it was. And I paid the person, as you would say, a hell of a lot of money. And they didn't deliver. And I literally cornered them and said, listen, you signed a contract, you didn't pay the money. And then the person admitted that it was a scam that they're running. And so I didn't hear from the person. Now they're following me again and liking all of my stuff. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. Like, what? I know you owe me money. I just think it's crazy. So buyer beware out there. There are so many people on social media. And by the way, we don't know who they are. Right. They're in another country, another world somewhere. We can't actually see them. They're never available on Zoom. You can't have a face-to-face meeting with them, but they will take your money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our common friend, he gave all the money to a scammer that he met on a website. Yeah, I mean, people love these miracles and they want to believe this shit. That's the problem. That's how religions function anyway. We want to believe something. Yeah, we want to believe something, and we hope that's working. Hope and believe it. That's what many people thrives through their lives instead of living their true self. Living the true self. And again, I don't mean going to the Himalaya, going into cave, sitting naked there, meditate. That's not about this. True life is mean meditating and living in this society where you're born, but go maybe a little bit different.
I think this is a really important topic because I know people who are definitely heart-centric. They are helping other people all the time. They don't really have any money per se, and I'm not judging, but based on what they've told me, they're not good at business. So they are easily conned into believing certain things. So can you explain what is the difference between being a heart-centric entrepreneur, for example, like one of our team members in Scotland, a social entrepreneur, or just making mistakes because you're trusting of everyone and not actually researching it or doing anything to determine, is this a good place for me to spend my time, my money, or should I be aligned with this person?
Well, I guess first of all, it's a difference if you're heart-centered or just a fool. That's not the same. That's not the same.
Good one.
That's not the same. And the other hand, I do some I do this German podcast with men and some of them are starting their coaching business. So I do some coaching with them for a small price to support them. And I always tell them, why don't you charge more? It's not about charging a hell, but charging more. And the point is, even when you do some good work or social work, I believe it's unfair if the other person has not the chance to balance it, because you're always in the debt. So, when you're always giving, and the other person cannot balance it, it makes them unhappy. You have to give them a chance, and the easiest way to balance it is to pay you by money, or maybe do another service. Doesn't matter. But that's what we have to learn is, even when we are in service, even when we do something good, we have social work, we have coaches or whatever we're doing, is give the other person the chance to balance it, meaning pay you. Maybe it's money, maybe I don't know, you coach them, they give you a massage, or they bring you some ham or eggs or whatever, like we did in early years. That doesn't matter, but we have to give them the chance to balance it, because otherwise this relationship is breaking. We see it in relationships, when one is always giving and the other one is always taking, there's no balance. And what it's working is that the person who is always taking, one day realizes, oh my God, I cannot give it back. So the gap is too much. What this person is doing, they go aggressive or they're escaping. They're getting out of the relationship. And the other person left behind says, oh, I didn't give enough. And goes to the next relationship and tries to give even more. And has the same pattern. We have to give our clients, call them clients, the chance to balance it. It's so important. But it has to be a fair price. And what is a fair price for me? It has to be in relationship to the person's income. So I charge for a CEO more than for a manager, and charge more than a person just starting a business. It has to be in relationship to their income, to their capability of paying you. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And can you believe we're out of time? I just looked, I'm like, whoa, our show is already over. It's great. Oh my gosh, this flew by. So we do have another show right after this, but Roland, I really enjoyed this conversation. Maybe we need to have a part 2, but what would you like to leave our audience with today? Maybe something that I didn't ask you, you didn't get to talk about yet.
What I want to leave you for the first is if you have the feeling that you're not really happy, that you're not really satisfied, that you say, okay, maybe I'm successful in business, yes or no, doesn't matter, but I'm not balanced. I don't feel really good in my body. Start thinking about yourself. What is really important for you to reconnect yourself? And maybe you ask for some help. Maybe you ask a coach, or you can contact me if you want. Ask for some help. If you feel something that's not 100% good, work on that. Don't suppress it, because otherwise you're getting older and older, and then you start regretting. And I guess nobody will tell on the last day, oh, I didn't work enough. Maybe they say, oh, I didn't spend enough time with my beloved one. Maybe I didn't travel. Maybe I didn't this. So if you feel something is not 100%, go for it. Work on it. That's my advice. Thank you.
Thank you. How can people reach you? Your website, and then for people who are on an audio only platform.
The best way is maybe you go on my website or email me. My website is my name, rolandfriedl.com. I will spell it for you guys. It's ROLANDFRIEDL, rolandfriedl.com. There's a contact form, or you can email me directly. It's office@rolandfriedl.com. And you're more than welcome to contact me. It's all about sharing, caring, and connecting people. That's what we hear on USA Global TV Radio. And thanks for the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roland. I really enjoyed it. It was great seeing you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. And bye-bye to everyone wherever you're joining us. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Please do go and follow Roland. You can go over to his LinkedIn, go to his website. And if you are watching us on Roku, welcome. Please do follow our channel. And also, if you're watching on Amazon Fire, the same thing. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. And Facebook, please like, comment, etc. So we are going to sign off. Our next show is coming up. It's a woman's prerogative. So stay tuned for that. We look forward to seeing you shortly. Bye for now.
My name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating warm memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Bella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Bella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.